But how's everyone's calls doing? Any wins for the week? Any kind of opportunities you did close or opportunities that you did miss? Or did you hear an objection that you kind of want to go more into and kind of find a different way? Or you just let me know because I'm here for you guys.
We
Feel
can
free
allow
to
you to
text
talk.
or yeah, perfect.
If you guys want to use the chat, you raise your hand if you want to talk.
Yeah, I think we have Keenan.
Keenan, do you want to tell us about your wins this week? You can speak. You can type if you feel more comfortable. It's up to you.
I don't know if you're speaking, Keenan. I can't hear you on our end.
I know the audio is not working.
Feel free to use the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
still kind of training mode. Okay,
that's not
awesome.
yeah, that's a good thing. So I would say that before you even go through the leads, like a few things that I do is obviously like, when I first start in my CRM, I pretty much have a coffee or have a tea, whatever you guys drink, and just kind of overview, just go through the new leads that kind of came through, go see who's active. Just kind of keep an eye on maybe some leads that have been active and you haven't really touched base with them, or you've tried to and they haven't yet, or whatever. Obviously if someone has like a bad email, you want to try to change the email by marking it invalid, so that if they choose to log in next time, they're gonna have to put the right thing in there. Other than that, you're just kind of seeing what people are searching for before you start giving people a call, right? I feel like if you just do a little bit of homework, it goes a long way. And sometimes you're like, oh, well, I want to make sure I call this person down. And sometimes they're not until three lists down, right? So it's really good to kind of just make sure that you're really looking at any leads that are coming in, any new leads that you haven't touched base with. I would definitely start, giving them a call. Sometimes, I can find when I'm lead genning with Agent Locator is, there's probably a couple days where I'm really good and I'm really on top of things, and then life picks up or business picks up, and then you can't call as much, right? But as long as you just keep pushing forward and you even try to do 5, 10 calls a day, it doesn't have to be this crazy 3 hour binge of lead gen, which is a good option to do. But if you don't, like, little wins is where it's at. Even in the morning, if you can call 3 leads and by the end of the day, you can call another 5 leads. If they pick up, they pick up. If they don't, at least you know that you're calling them and you're leaving them a message, and then, they'll get back to you when you can, right? So it really just you just got to keep pushing, right? I've had actually
Mm-hmm.
people who haven't messaged me or whatever for the longest time, and then they'll start calling me. So don't give up if they're not telling you to leave you alone, or they're working with someone else or whatever. Just keep gently touching base with them and just finding really good listings that they're looking for that you can kind of spark, because you got to remember, most people want motivation. If you give someone motivation, they'll be more likely to start answering back to you. So what is motivation? Motivation is giving them an item of value. So it could be, something in the buying process. It could be a community-based value. It could be something like that, right? And all you want to do is you want to just find what gets them to respond back. Because that's how you're gonna get, either someone saying yes or no, right? So yeah. So I'm just looking
Mm-hmm.
at Keenan, download your database of leads. Yeah, so usually if you just put them in yourself, you shouldn't have, like, no messages will go out or whatever. So then you can pick what the appropriate follow-up is on that end,
Mm-hmm. And
right?
what I would really do with a database when you have them in there is create the sites, encourage them to go on to the websites. You can even create a drip campaign that something goes out every week or 2 weeks,
Mhm.
varying between text messages and emails. And really it's kind of process of elimination of your database, right? To see where everyone is at. Some people may have already just recently purchased. Some people may have put searches on hold. Some people may not be moving, you know, for the indefinite future, but it's really trying to figure out where everyone's at. So mass texting is a great way to kind of stir the pot a little bit, introduce the app. So if you're on RV2, you have the access to the home locator app, getting, encouraging people. And I tell this to everyone when you're talking to them, just tell them about the app and that you're going to send them the link so that they can browse properties and look at, depending on your board, look at sold listings. Because when a user downloads the app, the first step of their creation of their account is them actually setting up their street match. So all of those individuals that do decide to download that app, you're ultimately getting their address as well. But then you're also nurturing them with listings around where they live. So whether if you don't have access to sold listings or just getting, new listings that come on the market in their area, the same type of property. So if it's a house, for example, they would get anything that's classified as a house. And then if you do have access to sold listings, they're also getting set up on an automatic sold search. When those houses do sell, you're now sending them the relevant data, right? So that's one way that you can also approach them that, hey, you want to get that notification. Here's the app or here's the link. If you don't want the app, here's the link where you can sign up for my street match and get those notifications, right? Or offer it to them and set them up, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you don't want to go overboard with the home locator app. It just really depends on how you're putting it, right? So, if we're just hounding them to download your app, of course it's going to get annoying, right? But if you're offering value in that app, something that would pique some interest, and as we all know, being able to just easily look up at a property as we're driving by it, or getting those notifications of how much my neighbor's house actually sold for, is something that a lot of people are interested, whether they're planning to move right now or in the distant future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I totally agree. And remember, like when you're calling a lead, like go take a look at what they're looking at before the call so that when you can have a conversation with them, you can say, hey, like, I see that, by the way, I'm not sure if you saw this listing. This listing here is pretty really nice. And it's 123 Main Street or whatever the address is. And then at least that way they don't know that you have access to what they're seeing. So you have to understand that you have information in your toolbox that you can pull out, and depending on where that conversation is going, that's where it's going to help you out a lot more and get you a little bit further, right? So that's something I would do, to be honest with you. I've actually, like, I was calling a few people yesterday and I had some good calls. I've had someone that was actually let me see where they were at. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, I called here. So, this is a good call. It was about 9 minutes. Basically, she's been on my website or my app, my agent locator for 1,200 days. So it's been a while. They came back in 2020. I found out that they bought a new pre-construction 2021, but now they've kind of lost money on that. They thought that they were going to make money. They were trying to buy something for their kid. Now their kid wants to move to Whitby Ajax. The unit just got built. So the way that I went with it is I said, well, hey, if you need help selling it, I can help you do that. And then I put them on a search on where it is. So I'm going to play that call just so you guys can see, other than just the intro call on how things can work. So give me 1 second. Let me just play this.
Hello.
Hey, Suad, how are you?
Good, good. Are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's actually just Nick Moretti giving you a shout. How was your long weekend?
Oh, it was good. It was good. What about you?
Yeah, it was good. Got to take some time, which never happens, so can't complain.
Time flies. Yeah.
Oh my God, time flies by so much. I can't believe we're already on Tuesday. Like, where did the week go, Already flying by.
But the weather was good.
So as you can see, like I'm not even talking about real estate. I'm just talking about long weekend and seeing, what it is, trying to build some sort of common ground.
The weather was nice.
Yes. Yes, finally it was good.
Yeah.
So it was good, you know. Were you just with the family and just, you know, taking some time to yourself as well?
Yeah. We were, we just went out and have dinner, just as a family,
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was nice.
So I,
It was nice but short. Yeah.
yeah, I know, but short. You're totally right about that. Trust me, I hear
Yeah.
you on that. I feel like there's never enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just calling just to check in. I mean, I'm Nick Moretti, as you know. Been sending you
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
listings. I know we chatted last year, and you were telling me that last year wasn't the right time for you and your family. This year,
Yeah.
with interest rates holding and better properties coming to the inventory on the marketplace, there's some really good opportunities. But I want to just check in, see how you're doing. How's the list
Well,
of homes going for you?
really, I just still, because we told you we were on the day. I
Okay.
told you last time we had 2020, so the one got finished, But I regret that I bought a new one. It's nice, it's headache. That's a
Yeah.
headache.
Yeah. I
So
know what you
before I
mean.
was thinking, I was thinking of getting two, but with the interest and all those, this went, I still so I'm just thinking
Yeah.
to get rid of that one, before I think of
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you
hmm
know how much that one is worth? Like, because you bought pre-construction, is it already built? Is there already
It's
occupancy?
yeah, it's ready. As they said it will be ready on 23rd, but what the price that it was is less than what it is now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
pre-construction price points are really hard. I've been
that's
telling my
right.
clients during this whole like
Mm-hmm.
shift in the marketplace not to
Mm-hmm.
get pre-construction because there's not much money in there anymore as it used to be. Because the
Yeah,
problem is
yeah,
builders charge today's price points. They don't charge,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they charge
yeah.
future price points, right? So they're saying, hey, well,
Mm-hmm.
this house could be worth X amount in the future, but I mean, the future is the future, right? We don't know what,
You are right. Yeah,
right?
it was nice. Maybe 21, 21. It was okay, but now how things are, it's maybe less than what I even bought for it.
Yeah, and like even with capital gains too, right? Like
Yeah, forget
there's
about gains. I'm afraid it will be a loss.
yeah, you just want to get your money back, right? I hear you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because
But
I was thinking of when that will finish, then to sell that immediately
yeah,
and get one from the Whitby area
like the
because my
market.
son he works for OBG, so
Nice,
he,
nice,
he
nice,
wanted to
nice.
have in that area of Whitby, or Ajax, those areas. But
Yeah, for sure. Would you
yeah.
consider maybe helping him get something sooner before that occupancy? Because if you have 2027, I mean that's still a
hmm
ways from now, and at least this way, as the market picks up, maybe we can do sorry, like on a not what's it called, just to sell it before it gets there, like you know what I mean, like just to sell the
Yeah, I
property before
understand.
you
Yeah.
close on it, because that would probably be a
It
lot
is
more
already,
easier.
we already closed it. That's the mistake we made. We already closed it. It should be closed it, I think. We paid everything, so they will give us the key on Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday? You're talking about this
Yeah.
Thursday?
So I
Ah,
don't have
okay,
much
okay.
time, yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah,
we are
for
waiting,
sure.
we'll let you know immediately as soon as, that it becomes stable. Even if we get the same price that we
Yeah,
bought
what
it,
was the address? What pre-construction did you get?
it is at Westport in condominiums, Westport. It's
Condominiums? So obviously at this point, I'm going on Google and I'm typing in Westport just to see what
mm-hmm,
it is. And at this point, you got to act pretty fast because it's a live call, right? So at
mm-hmm.
the beginning of, obviously, I don't know if everyone on here can hear, but it's hard to kind of understand what she's saying. So I had to kind of piece some things together. So now we're on the right track, and now we're trying to piece, the whole story together.
Westport.
What?
It's Westport. It's at Port Credit, at the go. The
Yeah,
location is good. Port Credit.
like in Pickering, you're saying?
No, it's in Mississauga, Port Credit.
Oh, Mississauga. Okay, okay, okay. I know what you mean. Poor credit. What did you get?
Yeah.
Did you guys just get a one bed, one bath, or one
Two,
plus one
two,
den?
two, 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 two bed, two beds and two
Yeah.
baths. But small.
How much square footage?
There is, I think it's around 700.
700 square feet. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind me asking, it's not a 2+1. It's just a two-bedroom.
Two bedroom, yeah,
Okay.
and two baths.
And you have one parking.
It's still no parking. It's 50,000, so we didn't buy a park.
So no parking. Okay.
Yeah.
So no parking. Okay. And then does it have a locker? No
I
locker
don't
either.
know. I don't think so.
I'm gonna put no locker right now. What was the street that you're closing on? What's it called? What's the building called?
It's called 28 Ann Street. 28 Ann Street.
Ann Street. Okay. Because let me take a look at what's out there because
Okay.
I'm going to keep you up to date on what's happening over there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, I know that where you guys are coming from. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind me asking, how much did you guys pay for?
20%.
No, 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 for sure. But what was the purchase price?
I think 745.
745. So call it
So,
750. Okay.
yeah.
Let me take a look. Let me take a look,
Just
and then I can send.
keep an eye and let me know, when something comes on, something good you find, you see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
curious, did you go with like a family friend that told you to go on this pre-construction, or were you just kind of
I
searching
don't because
around?
my son he wants he was looking to buy a place, and then he wanted to buy from that area because he works for OBG.
Yeah,
But that time it was expensive. Things were expensive at that time,
yeah,
2020.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why we said let's get this one, and then you make profit from it, and then you go and buy it. That was
But now
our.
he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be more so Whippy Ajax area. Is that right?
No, because he eventually I think the OPG will move to Oshawa.
Yeah, to Oshawa. But right
2000,
now is OPG in Mississauga right now too?
no, it's not in Mississauga because we live in Mississauga, and the place
Yes.
the location was nice, because it's on top of the Go. So the bus is there, the Go is there, and then they are
Yeah.
building some other train. I don't know what they call that. So it's there also. So the location was good. So we were thinking we would get it for good price.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah.
totally understand. You know what?
Yeah.
Don't worry. At the end of the day, you have me. So next time, just let me
Mm-hmm.
know because I do a lot of business. Like a little bit about me, as you know, but a little bit about
Okay.
me. Like I'm ranked in the top 100 in my area in Durham here, and I'm ranked in
Mm-hmm.
top 20 in Canada. So
Oh,
I
great.
know how to make people a lot of money. Investors,
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to sell
Mm-hmm.
or looking to buy. So
Mm-hmm.
let me take a look at this. Let me see what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's some opportunity where you can get your money back or a little bit more, then I'll definitely let you know. And if you're open to it, I'd love to talk to you more about it.
Anyway, we'll just keep an eye and we'll see. We'll see what comes out of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you on
it.
the
Okay.
higher floor? Like
We are
what
on the
floor
fifth
is it
floor,
on?
not
If you
higher.
don't
No, no,
fifth
no,
floor.
not higher. Not higher.
Okay.
Fifth floor.
Okay,
Mm.
cool. So let
Mm.
me see what's out there, and then I can kind of go from there. But if you think that your son wants to move in Whippy or Ajax or something close by for obviously the OPG, because I have lots of
Yeah,
clients that work at OPG, just let me
yeah.
know because there's some really good price points.
Yeah, there are good price points now, I know. But that time when we bought this one, prices were high. That's why.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And you know what? The thing is like, the craze back then was like everything was going crazy. So a lot of
That's
people
right.
put their money in pre-construction, but you know,
Yes.
pre-construction is only good in my opinion, not to make
Mm.
money anymore. It's only good if you want that new build for yourself,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
want to go pick out the finishes, you want to be on a certain street,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if you're looking to make money, you get a better deal on resale all
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
every day.
If I knew what I know now, I would.
Yeah,
I
I
will.
totally
But
understand.
anyway, keep
But
an eye
you
and
have
let me
me.
know what comes out of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank
Okay,
you.
no
Okay.
problem.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So as you can see on that call there, they unfortunately bought pre-construction. They're not going to make money or, try to break even. But, a lot of people would have probably stopped there and be like, oh, okay. But this is the most important thing about, going through and asking questions throughout the whole thing, right? So clearly she knows who I am when I'm talking to her because she said that at the beginning. And then when it comes time to, talking about the listing, she was willing to give me more information because there's a little bit of pain there because she wants to obviously sell it, right? So the whole thing that was happening is she bought it there to make some money, and then once it was ready, then she could sell it and then help buy her son a property closer to OPG, right? Unfortunately, that's not going to work out to the best because obviously you can tell that she's upset that she bought, well, she's not upset, but she's just, it's a frustrating thing because now she's put a lot of effort, time, and resources into this, and then kind of dealing with that. The other thing is too is that she didn't get parking. She screwed up. You need to get parking with these things, especially. Lockers fine, but parking 100%, because someone who has a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, everyone in Toronto drives. That's just what it
Mhm.
is. You know what I mean? So that's going to be the hardest part, in my opinion, is not having
Yeah.
the parking. That's what's going to hurt them the most.
Mhm.
But
And do you think, like, in a situation like that, where she's not gonna, like, she's gonna lose money if she was
yeah,
to sell right now, would you encourage or give the idea of potentially finding a tenant? The son's not interested in living there. If we want to hold on to this, we have to hold on to it. We got to get that value back up there so you can at least break even, have somebody cover the monthly payments. How about we find you a tenant that can occupy the space, allow some time for
yeah,
the value to grow.
that's a way that you could pivot. But my understanding is that they probably, like, from that call, like, they want to get rid of that. And I also think people right now too are nervous to rent. So just because there's so many landlord and tenant issues right now that, I had to do a rental for one of my past clients that hasn't, that usually buys and sells with me, but they're just getting their life back in order.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy because the amount of work and the amount of, you know, tenant and landlord portfolios are just, it's hard to get a match. And my clients had over 700 credit score. They made almost 10 grand a month. And it was really hard because, a lot of people want that perfect applicant, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
other thing is too, is with a new build, it's a little tough. It depends on their portfolio. If they want to get their money back out, I would, obviously no one wants to take a loss, but I would maybe take a loss to move their money to something else. The other problem is too, is that you're giving someone a brand new unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about if
Mm-hmm.
you got a tenant in and they started wearing and tearing on that property a lot more, and by the time you sell it, you're still probably in the same hole than a year later. Because remember, once it
Mm-hmm.
starts making money, when you're renting it out and you're rent, like, for yourself, you have to pay that HST money back. So that's
Yeah.
going to be 23 grand right off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do it that way, and then now you're going to rent out the property, let's say the property even appreciates, you know, 50 grand, you have to give half of that away, and you're at 25 minus the 25 that you have for the HST, or 23, you're only coming out with a grand or two. And that's not even including, you know, commissions yet.
Yeah.
So either way, you're in the hole. So the question is
Mm-hmm.
how bad do they want to let go of that property and then purchase something for their son? Because that, in my opinion, in that call, the dire need is the son needs a house because he's working, and
Mm-hmm.
that they were trying to sell this, like, buy this to have some profits to make it easier, but now it's not making it easier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they want to hold the property, because during that whole time they didn't even mention about holding the property at all. So that's why I didn't really go down there. And based on their criteria and like what they want to do, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
holding the right atmosphere for them.
Yeah.
Personally, I think you should just list it properly, stage it properly, and get as much money as possible. They'll probably maybe break a little bit even, or just be a little bit in the red after,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's kind of the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But it depends. Yeah, if they wanted to rent it out, then yeah, for sure we could go with the renting out stage.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
from my understanding of the call, they want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks because with capital gains now, it's just like, it's just a shit show. And especially with new builds, there's just other things that can come in play that you don't realize until, you're paying everything out.
Yeah. Yep.
So those are that was one. And I felt like that was a great call because it was someone that's been in my database since 2020.
Yeah.
I've been touching base with her. She knows who I am, and that's all that matters. She, when someone calls and wants and knows who you're talking to, that means that they're intently watching the list. And she's been active
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
So she's getting kind of ready to figure it out, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a good follow-up call because, again, I know a lot of us, we're eager to know how to initiate conversations with new leads. And a lot of us get stuck on those follow-up calls when we're reaching out to somebody again, like 6 months later or a year later, just to see where they're at with everything. But again, it's, as you picked up and started that conversation, the discussion was nothing to do with real estate. You were just seeing how she was, how she's doing, how was your weekend? It's really, and that's really what we need to focus on with our check-ins, regardless if you're checking in on somebody, every couple of weeks or every few months. It's really about building and keeping the foundation of the relationship there. And not always talking business, especially when you're first opening up a conversation, right? You're
Yeah.
trying to
I
build
think we have
something
to
more than just
also
a transaction.
Yeah, sorry, Crystal, for that.
No
But
worries.
you're really right. I think at the end of the day, we have to realize like we're just talking to people, right? And the more awkward you make it, the
Mm-hmm.
less that call is going to go well. If you just talk to them and remember, you're coming in from a customer service role, right? So when you're walking into the mall and you're walking into a store, what are they saying? Hey, how are you? How's your day
Mm-hmm.
going? Right? They're
Mm-hmm.
not usually talking about sales. I mean, the good ones,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're
Mm-hmm.
just talking to see how you're doing, trying to find some common ground for the first 30 seconds. And then from there, then they're going to start asking questions. Remember, your tool is how is the list of homes going for you? Tell me a
Mm-hmm.
little bit about what you're looking for. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just simple questions that get the conversations going. And then once the conversation's going, that whole call gets a little bit easier,
Mm-hmm.
so just ask questions, like build some sort of common ground, don't get right into it because then, their backs up on the wall and they're not going to really realize what's happening. So just be just a human, just talk to them like you would talk to someone random, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's kind of hard, but remember that's why scripts comes into play, like even going on YouTube looking at scripts or just watching our calls, our live calls. Like it doesn't take too much. The effort is really just consistently calling.
Yeah.
Because, once you get one or two good calls, you don't stop from there. You just keep going, right? I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
that's all you have today, then that's great. But
Mm-hmm.
you want to try to get through these leads as much as possible, especially if you have a lot of people in your database.
Yeah. And it can be frustrating as well when you're doing all those calls when, you're not getting the wins. You're
Yes.
getting, the shutdowns. And so we kind of are a little bit more reluctant to keep on going, right? We don't
Yeah.
really want to, but when you want to have those, the one person that answers and you have a great conversation, it encourages you to do it a little bit more because you're going to get a lot of no's before you get a yes.
Yeah. And I feel like honestly, you just have to be calling consistently for at least 7 to 14 days. Then after that, you get into the groove of just calling. And remember, like, there's a book that's Go for the Nose. So just keep going for the nose because every no, you're getting closer to one yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you
Morning.
need, right?
Yep.
Remember, we're
Hi, support. Good.
prospecting.
How are you?
Oh, hey, Keenan, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need them.
So what I can tell you is that like as you progress, your scripts get better, and the calls get a little bit easier. But remember, you're prospecting, right? You're doing what 90% of agents don't do, right? Which is calling people and knowing that you're going to get rejected because you're calling people that are either not ready, maybe already have representation, or maybe they just don't want to talk to anyone right now. Because you have to remember,
Mm-hmm.
real estate's all about timing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you have a lead for 6 months that hasn't really been answering you. And then next thing you know, you call them, on that 7 months, and now there's amp to talking to you because now it's like, hey, this is actually coming to fruition now. I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a
Yeah.
lead that was that came into my database a year ago. Haven't really connected. We reconnected one time, and then they bought 2 houses in 30 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just don't know. And that was this year. They bought
Mm-hmm.
in the mid, one was 800 and one was 740.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. And it's just like, I feel that from my experience is that, you wake up, you do your thing, you get on agent locator to your CRM, and then you get, you procrastinate the call. Just
Yeah.
click and just call. Just click
Yeah.
and just call. Don't
Yeah.
like the less in between BS that you do, like,
Telling
all you
yourself.
need to do, exactly. All you need to do is be calling the leads in that dialogue. When you call the leads, you write in the notes as soon as the call's done, and then you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And you just be religious like that. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to take a break every 5 calls
Mm-hmm.
or every 2 solid conversations. Get up, stretch around, do a couple push-ups, do squats, do whatever, get that energy up, and then get back to it. Because remember,
Mm-hmm.
like if you prospect hard for even a month, right? You're going to start getting business, and now you're like, shit, I'm busy, right?
Yeah.
The real goal
Mm-hmm.
is when you're busy to continually prospecting, because you don't want to be the type of agent that, does one deal or three deals, and the next thing you know, you're not calling anyone, and now it takes you another month to get another one or two deals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's fine. But if, in this job, it's, you want to be as consistent as possible. So you want to have as many closing days as possible. For myself,
Mm-hmm.
if I get a 90-day closing, my job now is to fill in, up to those 90 days and more. So,
Yeah.
so that you have some more, prospect and more, revenue coming in for the company to either spend back into the business, or to just do whatever you need to do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I would recommend, but I wouldn't get so caught on the detail. And if someone hangs up on you, they hang up on you and you just move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
The most important things that you have to really, really consider when you're doing these calls is having a good script, having open-ended questions, having, like being able to build some sort of common ground in the beginning. And it really, you have to remember like your tone as soon as you say hello sets the tone for that call. So if you're
Yeah.
just saying, "Hey, how are you?" and you're talking soft and you're not confident, that person's not going to talk to you. So, but if someone comes on like, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" "Yeah, it's a nice bright sunny day. Are you working today?" Like, it takes a whole different shift in that call, just that tone. So, I
Mm-hmm.
would just make sure that, you're just being upbeat, you're being as, productive as possible, and you're just asking as many questions as possible, right?
Yep.
So in the chat now, how has everyone's calls been, or is there an objection that you guys keep getting, or is there an issue that you keep facing, or what are you guys experiencing from your last week or your couple days of calling agent locator leads?
I know Olivia put here that she's definitely more comfortable with the conversation and everything over time, right?
Uh-huh.
So it kind of goes back into what you were discussing. Is you just keep doing it, and you're only going to get better at it. You're
Yeah,
going to find exactly what to say, how to handle different situations and objections, because they're just going to naturally happen, right? And
yeah,
it's just a matter of, you know, practicing what we're doing, and we definitely get better. She's
yeah.
also saying, I'm definitely having more success reach people and having conversation before there's a lot of hang-ups and no answers,
That's
right?
great.
And I find too, when we get the hang-ups, again, I wouldn't even still call those people afterwards. We don't know why they hung up, right? They don't
Yeah,
owe anything to you to stay on the call, right? They have no idea who you are. Um, but really sometimes it comes down to how long we're doing this for, right? So in the beginning, when we only have a small audience of leads to focus on, we get hung up on the people that aren't answering, or the bad phone number, or the bad emails. We just sit there and we focus on that because the opportunities sitting in front of us are very limited,
yes,
right? But now as we start to increase our databases, we start to get more things to do. And sometimes those bad numbers, or the people aren't answering, are actually blessings in disguise, right? We're like,
yeah,
okay, I was able to get through this. Oh, this person gave a bad number. Oh, well, eventually they may give me one, or I'm going to put them on the bad number campaign. So
yes,
the way we kind of our mental focus on what we're doing shifts. The more we have, to focus on, rather than just pinpointing the things that are wrong. Because we tend to do that as humans, right? We sit there, instead of looking at everything that's positive in front of us, all the opportunity, we look at the things that we that aren't an opportunity. We can't do anything, or we're limited to what we can do. When we sit there and dwell on that versus focusing on what we do have and the opportunity that we may find success with right away.
yeah, for sure. So with Keenan, I'm just saying, so really, like if you have leads that you've talked to and they're just, not really getting back to you, it could be the way that that call went. If it went well, then great. I've had times where I've called people, great conversation, and then they kind of ghost you for a little bit. But in those moments, I'm kind of like, putting the carrot in front of their face. So, for example, let's say I tried calling them, they didn't answer. No problem. So I'll text them the next day or the next coming day. And since I know their criteria, I would say, hey, by the way, these new listings just came out. Did you have time to see them? Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
like find out what their motivation is and then use that when you're texting and calling them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's their urgency, right? So, for example, hey, I know that you're looking at homes in Pickering. There's actually been some good ones that just came up that's in your criteria. I think you should have a look at them. Take a look.
Mhm.
Have you seen them?
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
personal favorite is 123 Main Street. Like,
Mhm.
make it more, don't make it so like original, like not original, but so like copy and
Base.
paste
Yeah.
message. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Make it very tailored and custom to that lead, because that lead's gonna know it's something good of that, right? And
Mhm.
if you're taking the time and messaging them and actually sending them opportunities that they're interested in, they will get back to you 100%.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. But you have to
Okay.
remember there's a threshold of being annoying and giving good value, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
remember, like, just kind of teeter with that as
And those
much.
and the yeah, and anyone on the news system or running lead generation, generally your incoming leads are put on an SMS campaign anyway. And those campaigns, how I put it, should always complement whatever you're doing manually. So they're kind of running in the background, assisting you with sending this periodic text, trying to get this lead to just say, hey, I do exist, or reply to something. Meanwhile, you're obviously calling them. We're not just letting the system, hoping that these people are going to respond to one of these text messages, because not all will, right? If they're not ready to communicate with respect to real estate, they're not going to respond to one of those text messages because they could be 2 years
Exactly.
out, right? 3 years out. Hey, I'm not even going to talk about this. I don't have time to talk about this right now because it's not important. It's not here on my
Yes.
priority list just yet. But you want to have the conversation. So always, keep calling. The consistency is key. That's what will get people to ultimately answer. If we're calling them here and there, and once, this week, and then 2 weeks later we call, and then we call a couple days later, and the consistency is just not there. If we're calling every day, they start to recognize that phone number. They
Exactly.
can identify somebody, hey, somebody is trying to get a hold of me, and most of them will answer by the 6 to 8 call attempt, just to
Mhm.
see who it is that's trying to get a hold of them, because clearly there's someone that is.
And you have to be really spot on with that call when you do talk to them, because it could be a very quick call that you just kind of need to touch base with and make sure that they're all good.
Yep.
Because if you make that call boring or whatever, like, if there's no value in that call, they're not going to see value in continuing the conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
remember, we have to remember that we're there for them to make it as easy as possible. And it's important that they take the time to chat with us so we can set up their search criteria correctly, so that in the information stage as they're browsing, our job is to make sure that we're sending them homes that really check their boxes, and to make sure that they feel great every time that they look at the list, right? Your goal as to do this is to make sure that they're getting value from the list. If you're just sending someone something general and it's not very specific, they're not going to find value. And like,
Mm-hmm.
remember, they're not just going onto your website, they're going on to 5 others.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
So
going elsewhere.
time is of the essence, right? Obviously we don't want to be super annoying, but we have to understand that, we have to make sure that we come correct. And also, if you call a lead 2 or 3 months after they registered, in my personal opinion, or longer, those are the best leads, because most of the time no one's really followed up with them. Now they're open to having conversations because they're not really seeing what they want. And now you're taking the time to have a conversation with them to
Mm-hmm.
really find out what's important to that list, to do that,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
I'll share one other lead that I had, that I think is really good, especially if you're looking for multiple um, polygons, like if you're putting in the
Mm-hmm.
search.
Yep.
I think that this is really, really good, because I had someone that I've had a conversation with. They don't want to be in Peterborough, they want to be around Peterborough. So obviously there's no real tool that can help you, and the only tool that can help you is Polygon, right? And then you can actually set up different locations and multiple polygons in one. So I'll show you an example. Um, okay, so you guys see the screen here. You guys go
Mm-hmm.
to edit, or no, sorry. So like what I was saying is, like, if you go through here, you only see one polygon, right? If we want to make more or have it very specific, what we're going to do is we're going to click the email. We're going to click one of these, click view all new listings. And I've already actually set it up. See, there's two different polygons. So what you want to do is you want to remove one of the boundaries and then draw. There's going to be something called draw, and you draw that. right?
And yeah, you add the additional boundaries as
Yes, and
well.
then you can add additional boundaries and do that. So I got everything outside other than this area here. And then what
Mm-hmm.
you want to do is you want to click,
It'd be
uh,
update. It'd be
yeah,
update. It'll switch
it
to
would be
update.
up here. Once I changed it,
Yeah.
it would be up here. I'm not going to touch it because it took me a while to do this. And I have exactly the perimeters, but that's what you want to do. And this is how we'll save it in their stuff there. So this is
Mm-hmm.
really good if you have a very specific lead that wants a certain area or a certain small distance of something. So I think something like
Mm-hmm.
that is really, really good to know.
For schools, right? So just,
Yeah.
some people are very focused on the schools that they want to be in the
Yeah.
catchments of specific
Yeah.
schools, whatever city it is, but it has to be, within the catchment of this school, right? So you can actually set that up for them so that they'll only receive those types of listings. But furthermore to that, you guys have that same capability on your websites as well to build pages that are reflective. So if you are focused in certain areas, that's something that you can build out. Like, so for example, if you're in Whitby, you can have the different schools listed and then like have it so that these listings are all in the catchment of this specific school, right? Which some people are going to be most definitely interested in and focused on, because some people just are very,
100%.
very focused on that.
100%. So another thing that another kind of tool that I've been using when I'm calling these leads is obviously the nosy neighbor, as you guys know, but also more so of like, hey, hey, there has been a lot more inventory coming to the market as we're approaching the summer market, the summer, during the summertime. I can send you a handpicked list. Would you be interested in that, or something like that? And I've been getting a lot of feedback, like, yeah, please send it. So
Mm-hmm.
then it's good because when they say, please send it, okay, no problem. Just to confirm, this is what you're looking for. So now you're having another back and forth conversation that's adding value. And now you're listening to them. And then the list that you're sending them are going to be more tailored of what they're looking for to get a yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the things. Some of the things that I've been using as well is, I've been having a campaign, like a follow-up campaign. So let's say I call a lead today. They just come onto the website, that, easy script that I use.
Mm-hmm.
After I finish that call, I put them out on a just list checkup that is in the next week or two, an email that says, hey, thank you so much for still continuing to use our website. My goal is to make sure you have a great user experience still. How is the list of homes? Please let me know if anything has changed in your criteria, or you want me to adjust adjust your list
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more personally.
Yeah.
So remember, just customer service, checking in, following up. Remember, most people are not doing that. You doing that,
No.
you're already ahead of 90% of the people
Mm-hmm.
as agents. And, sometimes people just want to know that they're taken care of before you gain their trust and you gain their business.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things. But those are things that I'm doing. And at the end of the day, like, there's no easy pill, there's no easy system, there's no easy campaign. At the end of the day, it's work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just put in the calls. You got to put in
Yep.
the time. What I try to do is I try to put X amount of hours in a week
Yeah.
in agent locator or whatever lead gens you have, right? Like X amount of hours. My goal is to do 5 hours of lead genning in agent locator this week, every week,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Like, there's no easy answer. Sure, you might get some random easy layups where, yeah, I'm ready to go. Doesn't happen all the time. And if you want to get that conversion rate higher, I think it comes down to information, right? What I
Mm-hmm.
would be doing is or what I have been doing is, when you're dealing with these leads, like, give them the links to your social media, give them the links to, like, your other things, because yes, they're coming in and they're viewing this, but you want to try to make sure that you try to have as much as a personal connection, or maybe start making a channel on, like, a YouTube channel, and start putting some information about, how to set up your criteria, what's important for buyers, congratulations, you're starting, the information stage. Here are some things to look forward to, right? Like, give them information, right? Like, that's you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be ahead of the game. No one has that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
like, just because you have the CRM is the basic step. after you start learning how to do the calls, you're starting to get some success. You now have faith in the system because now you're closing deals. Now you're closing 1-2, maybe you're closing 5-8, maybe you're closing 10-20. Like now you have more faith in the CRM and in your skills. So now, to capture more of the dead leads or more of the stale leads or more of the leads that need more time, you give them more information. Once you give them more information, like, a buyer information session, a buyer guide, things to look out to, video content. Like you make some good, valuable content, that is where things will take off.
Yeah.
And to capture more of the leads, remember, people are going to know if they're going to want to buy from you or not. There's a lot of other people, and there's a lot of other people that may have a better skill set. There may be a lot of better, agents out there. There may be better people that just connect with the client better, right? So there's going to be people that commission cut, like, right? So you have so many things stacked against you that I think that what really stands out is just hard work, integrity, and a lot of solid, valuable information.
Yep.
Right. And like you got to really always think how, like when you're buying a product, let's say you're buying something for your car, or you're buying like a sage diffuser or something like that. What are you doing? You're looking at reviews, you're looking at experiences, you're looking at what type of product it is, you're looking at all these things before you purchase. So
Yep.
in real estate, it's a little bit different than a product, obviously, but it's more of a communication, vibe kind of thing, because it's
Yeah.
either they're going to vibe with you and like you and want to use you, or they're not going to want to use you. Like it's just like that.
Yeah.
And remember,
Yeah.
there's so many friends, family members that are real estate licensed and all this craziness. So you have to, if you want to win, you got to come correct in a lot of different areas in order to win, which sucks, but it also helps you master your craft a lot better.
Yep.
So we just have to keep that in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, is there anything else that anyone wants to go over, or, any aha moments on this call? Like, remember, I'm here for you guys. And I'm here to make sure that you guys are successful, and Crystal is here for that as well. So, now's the time if you have questions that you've been sitting on all week, or you need adjustments in your scripts, like today's the time to do it, because after this call, you guys should be starting to call. Like that's what I'm doing after this.
It's really about setting daily goals and weekly goals, right? And ultimately monthly, quarterly, annual goals, right?
Yeah.
And so it starts with one day at a time, one call at a time. One call is better than no call, right?
Yes.
Using time as an excuse. I know a lot of us do that. It's an easy excuse to come up with, and a lot of time excuses really have to do, not for everyone, of course, but have to do with how we're managing our time. We're not making the time to do what's important for our business, to ensure that we're not doing a roller coaster, or to ensure that we're always kind of steady with what we're doing. We're not having dry months in a row, right? So it's just making the time. And even if you only have 15 minutes a day to make those calls,
Do it.
15 minutes is better than no minutes. You guys do have the app as well. So the CRM app. So while you're, sitting waiting for somebody, you can go and you can make a couple dials out, right? So there's really no excuse. And I know we all find time, and I see a lot of us, we're all active on social media, with this and that, browsing, just kind of scrolling through. We all get sucked into the wormhole of videos and stuff like that. And that's where I kind of refer to as, making the time and having the time, but actually not spending it how we should be spending it for a business, right? So
Exactly.
Look at your screen. Like, all of our phones basically tell you how long you're on a specific app for every day or every week, right? Go on there and kind of review that and say, oh, okay, maybe I need to take a break from, this week I'm going to challenge myself not to open up social media until whatever time of the day, right? So as we do, we get sucked into things while we're waiting, or, I do it all the time. I'll go to do something on my phone and then squirrel, and then I'm like, I forget what I was doing, and then I put my phone down, and then I was like, go back. I'm like, all right, that's what I was doing. So we all kind of get suckered into it 100%. And it's just kind of holding ourselves accountable, which can be hard. or have a friend that maybe is kind of in a similar kind of boat as you. Maybe they're starting lead generation, or just in general, you want to be more focused and off of your phones, or what have you. Even have like little friendly challenges, an accountability partner that just says, hey, we're going to challenge each other to not do this, or see who has the lowest screen time on our cell phones this week, and the loser buys the other person lunch, right?
Yeah.
So, just fun things like that are wins, and you'll, kind of figure out or find how much time you actually do have, right? That we're just using on other things that aren't important for the survival of our business.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. So I also think too that you know, I also think too that what I do differently is I put my phone on do not disturb for the 30 minutes. I put a
Mm-hmm.
timer on my phone for 30 minutes and I don't touch my phone. I just
Mm-hmm.
call, do what I need to do. And when that ringer comes up, maybe I'll just take a quick peek at my phone and then redo it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also good to have friends or other people that are good at making time to call and stuff like that. Because then it's not just on you, it's on other people and you're kind of collaborating together. So I think that's really good. I just find with that, you just need to have someone that is, very heavy prospecting as you are, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what happens is the first week happens all good, and then after, no one wants to do it, and then you're doing it by yourself. So just
Yeah.
make sure that whoever you're partnering up with is someone is committed just like you. And yeah, like have a friendly game with it, or
Mm-hmm.
just if we both get over 10 leads that we've had good conversations with, we both get coffee together or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that those are the best things, to be honest with you.
Share your wins,
Yeah.
right? So sharing your wins with others, right? You can even create, you guys can even do it on the agent locator, right? Sharing your wins, right? Get the other, because it helps when we see other people succeed at things. It definitely motivates us that much more, because we're like, I can totally do
Yeah.
that, right?
And it gives us
So
belief.
it's yeah, exactly. It gives everyone. You're helping not only yourself because you feel good, you get to talk about something that you found success with, but you're also helping others and motivating them to get, and kind of work in their business as well. Seeing that there is light at the end of the tunnel, there is, good conversations to be had.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is too is like, no, when you're prospecting, at the end of the day, like, the rent's due every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just like when you did a great day today, guess what? Tomorrow is another day. You have to show up, that you have to pay the rent. Just like going to the gym, you did four workouts back to back every single day. Guess what? It's a new day today. You got to put in the work there again. So,
Mm-hmm.
don't just get so caught up on like, oh, well, I, lead gen 3 days this week out of 7, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, unless that's your goal, great. But at the end of the day, like it's a new day, you got to show up and you got to still do these calls and you got to still
Mm-hmm.
do the work, right? So
Yeah.
that's the hard part in this business. And I feel that as you get into the business longer and longer, and year 1 and 2 is exciting. Year 3 to 5, you're excited, you're getting some more success. You build that downline. Once you get to 5 and 10, you're kind of excited as well. But that repetitiveness is hard sometimes. And that's why it's important to, structure your day to do things fun. So like for me, like
Mm-hmm.
I reward the behavior. I don't just reward the outcome. So, if I'm calling 20, had 20 contacts today and no one did it, at the end of the day, I'm not going to beat myself up. At the end of the day, I did what I need to do. I just shifted through the shittier leads. And now going forward, I have better leads hopefully coming into the next day. And we have to remember, we don't know what happens in the next 24 to 48 hours. And also, I feel like if you believe in a higher power, or you believe in God, or, whatever you do, I feel like at the end of the day, as long as you're putting in the effort, something will always come through. May not be agent locator. You may call
Mm-hmm.
30 conversations and they were all terrible, let's say, right? But maybe later that evening, you get a text or a call from a friend saying, hey, I'm ready to look at something. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just funny because, as long as you're doing the work, you will get rewarded.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
put it
what
out in the
I can
universe.
tell you from doing 8 years of real estate full time.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah, it's putting it on the universe, right? It's like what you put out there is what you're going to receive.
Exactly.
What you're going to constantly see, right? So you got to be, you know, optimistic about all of it, not pessimistic, and just like, oh, these people are horrible, and like if we go into our calls like that, that's what you're going to receive,
100%.
100%, right? Whereas if you're optimistic and whatever, and you know what, don't care about, you know, don't worry about the outcome of the call. Just worry about having good conversations with people. You know, you're building your friends list essentially,
Exactly.
and then it becomes more fun, right? Because you're kind of, you know, disengaging from, oh, these people aren't, they're all just looking, right? But actually having
Right.
fun with it, because those just looking will turn into, we're now actively looking.
Right.
And we wouldn't be able to work your entire database all at once anyway, right? It's all about building those future pipelines for ourselves so our business is always steady. And in the beginning, it's going to take a bit to get there, right? And then more and more work. And then it's just that consistency, keeping it level and at a pace. And mix it up, right? So if we
Yeah.
hate calling, then, you know, do other things, because you should have different pillars you're working on,
100%.
but we want to make sure that we are always focusing, you know, working, you know, on the business itself rather than just always in the business.
100%. 100%. And remember, like you have like with Agent Locator and having the nosy neighbor or whatever, like you can post on social media on your story or talk about things and try to capture leads that way to now put into the CRM. So like there's just so much opportunity, and sometimes we just have to not be so caught up on like, our mind is not gonna always give us positive reinforcements. It's always gonna give us negative, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand that like it's gonna tell us when we wake up in the morning and we're doing our thing and we're looking at the CRM and we're looking at, how many people we need to call today, our brain's gonna say like, well, they don't want to hear from us, so why are we wasting our time? But no, you got to just
Mm-hmm.
all go
You
through the
do,
motions and go through everything.
especially those follow-ups, right? So a lot of
Exactly.
us hesitate with the follow-ups because we feel like, I don't want to bother them. There's a reason why, and this is also the importance of detailed notes for yourself. Even leave a note what you're going to say the next call. Like, so then you don't have that hesitant, why am I calling them? But detailed notes will allow you to carry on that conversation. So if you feel like you're bothering somebody, then in most cases or many cases, you're going from a sales standpoint. You're calling them with respect to a sale rather than customer
Connecting.
service and relationship kind of building, right? Our check-ins really, unless somebody is like hot and ready to go, our check-ins are generally just, hey, how are you? Just making sure things are good. Last time we spoke, you guys were just out the door. You were heading to the cottage for the weekend. How was it? The weather was great, right? Like just having those simple conversations. And again, you're not bothering somebody by doing that, and alternate it through calls and texts, right? So if
Yeah.
you have somebody on like 2-week check-ins, 1 week you call them, the next week like, hey, or the next 2 weeks, they're like, hey, just checking in, making sure you're still good. Don't need to reply to me, just letting you know I'm here if you have any questions,
Exactly.
right?
And I think also too, like remember, if you want to do 50 deals this year, you need to just find 50 people or 25 sellers and buyers that would want to use you, right? Like we make
Mm-hmm.
it this whole crazy like thing, right? All we need to do is find 50 people that know, like, and trust us and want and need some real estate solutions. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's a numbers game at that point, but just to show you that like once your scripting's on point and once you can lead through connection and relationship, people want to they want people to work hard for them, right? Like people want people that will work for their best interest, right? And they're picking
Mm-hmm.
who their representation is. So we just have to find 50 people that want to use us, that know, like, and trust us and showcase that we can do a great job, right? Or break it down, that's 25 sellers that need to sell and buy, right?
And
Like,
yeah, think about it on an annual basis, how many people we interact with in 365 days, right?
yeah.
Make a point of it that in person you speak about real estate or that you're a realtor to 1 to 3 people every day, 1 to 3 people. Somehow it just comes into the conversation, right? You can, that is a way of also getting comfortable about talking. A lot of people are kind of hesitant about, being like, I'm a realtor, and they not want to come off as salesy or anything like that. But you can spark up genuine conversation, right? And like interest or, that sort of thing. They might just even have questions about the market, right? But just letting people know what you do.
Yeah.
is a big one, right? And if you do that, 3 times, 3 people a day, you're bound to get business from it. I've had moms hand out your business card anytime you can. I've had moms hand me their business card because their contact information. Oh, if you need to get a hold of me, here's all my information, right? So then she was letting me know right away that she was a mortgage agent at the time. She's letting me know right away what she did for a living, right?
Right.
So without having to do anything. So think about that when you're like meeting parents and things like that. Give them your business card, right? That's another opportunity that you didn't even know, if anyone wants your contact information at any point, just hand them your business card.
Right.
It's all
And I
on
think
there.
that, yeah, exactly. And I think also too, like there's different ways on positioning the way, like, hey, what do you do? Hey, I actually connect people to the next adventures or, help them find their next place to call home. Like you're not just
Mm-hmm.
saying you're a real estate agent. It's all about storytelling, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember that. And also if don't be afraid to ask for, referrals or if they know someone that needs help. So if you're talking to someone, they're like, no, you know what? I was actually just browsing. I don't need anything. The next step is like, hey, I totally understand. Thank you for being upfront and honest. But hey, let me ask you a question. If you could make, if you know one or two people that are looking for a home and you can make their life a lot easier by connecting them to the right representation, would you consider on passing me through? Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like
Yeah.
different ways on pivoting and asking the questions, right?
Yeah.
And like you got
Mm-hmm.
to ask the questions that are kind of more of like a yes and like I want to refer you. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you have, close friends and family that you would obviously do anything for, right? We all have that. I
Yeah.
have that too, right? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you know that you have a friend or family member that are looking for homes and they're not really understanding the market or they're kind of confused on what's going on, wouldn't you want them connect them to the right person that could help them either get the best deal or help them sell as much money as possible? Yes, I would. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, do you know anyone that I could help with? Maybe it doesn't come
Mm-hmm.
right now, but if you have anyone, I would love to give you I would love to have the opportunity to connect with them. And then, other ways you can start thinking about what your referral game is, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I have a referral point system, or I have, there's so many different ways that you can go about it. Don't just say like, if you're getting the same responses over and over again, find a way to overcome that. And don't
Yeah.
be scared to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be scared to ask them. It's either going to be a no.
Yeah. Yep.
So but that's kind of where I'm at today. Thank you for everyone coming in. If you guys
Mm-hmm.
have any questions, now's your time, but it's been pretty quiet today. But any last closing thoughts or anything at all? No. All right. Well, I hope everyone's having a great day
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy this sunny Wednesday where we're at.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thanks, Nick. Thanks everyone for hopping on. We'll see you all next month. I guess it is
Sounds
now.
good. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.